Signs: you may be self-medicating. Chances are, if you're watching this video right now, you have some concerns about whether or not those few drinks during the week, or those shopping binges, or the overeating that you're doing is actually self-medicating in order to hide emotions or feelings that you either haven't dealt with or don't want to deal with. Self-medicating is when we use something to make ourselves feel better when we're feeling depressed or anxious about certain things. And it can run into addiction because we're using that tool, whatever it may be. It could be eating, it could be shopping, it could be gambling. Some people use sex, overworking, exercise. It could be all of that, and it's a way to try to make us feel better because of the feelings that we're having inside. There's a difference between having a regular workout routine, or having a glass of wine during the week to enjoy, or maybe shopping for yourself every now and then. There's a difference between that and doing it because it's making you feel better, or you're trying to avoid emotions that you don't want to deal with. So we're going to take a look at a few things that are telltale signs that will let you know whether or not you're self-medicating. And the first thing to do is to identify, right? So if we identify that we are actually self-medicating, then the next step is to get some help. So the first thing is to find out whether or not we're self-medicating, or if we think we're self-medicating, and then we can go get help to try to curtail that. So the first thing that comes to mind, and if this is happening, then it's likely that you're self-medicating, is that you use drugs, alcohol, food, sex, shopping when you're depressed or anxious on a regular basis. So if something comes up in your life, or maybe it's a daily habit, which then turns into an addiction. Maybe it's weekly, but if something comes up in your life, or you're feeling anxious and depressed, and you turn to that box of donuts, or you turn to the beer, or whatever the case may be, or shopping to make yourself feel better so you don't feel those feelings, then that's self-medicating. So that's one of the telltale signs. So think about that for a second. When you're feeling depressed and anxious, what do you do? Do you meditate? Do you read a book? Do you take a nice hot bath? Or do you grab some chocolate or donuts? Do you grab alcohol? Do you take drugs? Do you go on a shopping spree to make yourself feel better? So you really want to think about that for a second. Are you enjoying a few of those things, which are not bad in of itself, but the reason why you're using those things is the part that's not a good reason, or not a good thing. The second thing is, if you use those things to try to make you feel better, and you feel worse, so things aren't getting any better, because a lot of times we celebrate, we'll have a glass of wine and we feel great, we feel better the next day. But if you're grabbing the wine and drinking the wine, and you're drinking it and it still doesn't make you feel better, and it doesn't make you feel better the next day, and then the next time you use it and things are just getting worse, then that's a telltale sign that you're self-medicating, hiding feelings, or trying to cover up, or trying to make yourself feel better by using a substance or a source to kind of cover up or hide, or just make yourself feel happy or better. It takes the third thing that comes to mind is that if it's taking more and more of whatever you're using, food, drugs, sex, shopping, gambling, to make you happy. So you start out with a little amount, makes you happy, or it makes you feel better, so you do it more often, and you're in this cycle, and then you start doing more of it and more of it, and it's not working. It's not making you feel any better. That's a telltale sign of addiction. And addiction, what happens with addiction is that you're trying to self-medicate to make yourself feel better, and you do it more and more and more, but after a while your body becomes numb to it. It does not make you feel better. In fact, it makes you feel worse, because then you end up in a guilt and shame cycle. You feel guilty, you feel shame because you feel guilty, and then you just continue the cycle of whatever it is that you're using to self-medicate. So that's another telltale sign. Another one is your problems are multiplying. Your problems are getting worse. So let's say it's gambling, and you're losing all kinds of money. Now you can't pay your bills, so your problems are multiplying. That is a telltale sign of self-medicating, which is the same thing as addiction. Or alcohol. Maybe you drank while you were driving, and you got stopped for OUI, and now you have to pay a fine and go to court and do all that stuff. You know, if your problems are getting worse because of the things that you're using to make yourself feel better, then it's a form of self-medicating or addiction. You feel anxious or upset if you don't have access to the things that you're using. So let's say it's alcohol and you don't have anything in the house, and you're feeling anxious, and then you get really mad because you don't have anything in the house and you can't go get something, or you can't go gambling, or you don't have any donuts in the cupboard to make yourself feel better. If you're getting angry over that, then you're self-medicating. You're using something to make yourself feel better, and to hide those feelings, or to stuff those feelings, whether it be anxiousness, fear, doubt, whatever it is. That's what's happening. And then the last thing that I'll say is, if you've had concerned friends or family approach you and to tell you that they're wondering if you're okay. They're concerned that for your safety, or they're concerned that you're using something to help you to self-medicate, or you're into an addiction, and they can see that you're going downhill, or your problems are getting worse. And if they've come to you and spoken to you, then there's probably a really good chance that you are self-medicating and have gotten yourself into an addiction loop. The key is once you've identified it, is to get some help. And there are several ways to get help. You can go to your local, there's lots of local help when it comes to either alcohol or drugs, Al-Anon or AA, gambling places that you can call or go to. All of those, addiction, if you've got an addiction with eating, same thing. But you have to recognize what you're doing in order to stop the cycle, in order to be able to pick yourself back up and live a life of passion and purpose. You have to get help for it, and you have to recognize what's going on and understand that you're not a bad person. You have an addiction. You're medicating because you have some things, feelings, and emotions that you haven't dealt with. It could be from trauma, past trauma, as we spoke about a few minutes ago. And it's not your fault. It is your responsibility, now that you know about it, to get some help. Maybe you can hire a coach to help you. I do trauma and addiction recovery coaching. So there's lots of different ways to get help. So now that you know that you may be self-medicating, it is your responsibility to get some help for it. I hope this video has been useful to you. If it has, don't forget to pass it along to friends or family, or don't forget to like and share. And also, if you have not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel. You don't want to miss all of the other videos that are going to be coming out that may help you or someone else in your family or friend circle in your life.